So this guy joins the free-thinking Christian Facebook group and he starts, okay, this is something I was banned from another Christian debating Facebook group for saying. The word feet in the Bible is sometimes a euphemism that means genitals. I looked this up in my Bible concordance and it's true. And I found that scholars debate which type of feet Jesus had cleaned by the women's hair and which feet of the disciples Jesus washed. And I found multiple articles that give reasons why it was genitals. Sex is the metaphor used to describe God's relationship with his people, and the 12 disciples were to represent the 12 tribes of Israel. And God uses sexual language to describe his relationship with Israel, and Jesus washed the feet of the disciples. I will provide 4 links that argue that feet does sometimes mean genitals, and that argue that Jesus had his genitals cleaned by the women. And Jesus cleaned the genitals of the disciples as symbolic of God's relationship with his people. So the cleansing of the genitals was somehow euphemistic. So it's this divine metaphor for the cleansing of sin. So let's just look at this one example of a passage from the Bible. She began to wash his feet with her tears, and she dried them with her hair, kissing them many times and rubbing them with the perfume. When the Pharisees who asked Jesus to come to his house saw this, he thought to himself, damn, Jesus. He thought to himself, if Jesus were a prophet, he would know he would know that the women touching him is a sinner. That's the issue here. It's like, Jesus, do you know the women crying on your genitals, mopping it up with her hair and kissing them many times? She's a sinner. It would be much better if I were doing this, or my friend Nigel. You know, when Jesus turns to his disciples and tells them to go and do likewise. It's like you could just imagine these 12 disciples standing there thinking, like, what the fuck did we get ourselves into? Andrew, what did you get me into? You know, Peter's like, I'm sorry bro, I just, you know, I'm gonna turn. Okay, took a hard left turn there, but up to this point, it was sounding good, right? I suppose, we'll see it through, Nah, I don't know about that. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bringeth good tidings. They are like the tall trees of Lebanon. And so this person, you know, after a little bit of ribbing, comes forward and quite fairly makes the point, you know, this idea is not my own, so don't call me a pervert. I don't want to clean someone else's genitals or clean someone else's feet. I have no desire for either. This is not some desire I have for something I just strongly want to be true. It was an argument that I heard, and so far the objections to it have been illogical. Ultimately, he concludes, upon further study, the one premise that connects the euphemism of feet being that the 12 disciples represent the 12 tribes of Israel, as I discovered, was false. The necessary premise to the argument has been ruled out. That being said, the whole original post has been officially disproven. Okay, so he was unduly teased, I think, you know, like some people were calling him a pervert, and I don't think that's fair. I made the comment, like, I'm not going to give you a hard time here. Poor choice of words, but yeah, I see what you're doing. You're coming at this with the best of intentions. You're not a pervert or some kind of deviant trying to canonize hand jobs as sound doctrine. You're just trying to convey the clearest, most authentic picture of the gospel that you can. That's admirable. You've created reason in your mind to suggest that washing feet could mean washing genitals, and you're trying to approach it with sobriety, thinking, well, alrighty then. Okay, I can work with this. God's metaphorical like that. It's not a big deal. God's covenant relationship with man is sexual in its poetry, so why not? But I ultimately think that, you know, he was overthinking it. And when I made the comment, let's stick with feet regardless of the truth. And as I say, I mean that in this instance, I don't think it's important or conducive to the Christian ethic, you know. And there was reason, which was ultimately found to be vindicated, that his analysis was incorrect. It's a bold issue to raise, a hilarious one at that. Thank you. So yeah, that could have made for some interesting adaptations to the faith, but sadly they will not be implemented. All the best.